the International Criminal Court has just issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, accusing them of war crimes in Gaza, and also for a top Hamas commander, also known as Mohammed Deif, who is believed to be dead. The court says it found reasonable grounds to believe the prime minister bears criminal responsibility for war crimes, including starvation as a method of warfare. And it rejected Israel's challenge of the court's jurisdiction over the matter. CNN's Nick Robertson joins us now from Jerusalem. Nick, what more can you tell us?
Well, this is a very, very significant escalation. It was first announced by Karim Khan, the ICC chief prosecutor, back in May, that he was going to seek to request arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant, who was the defense minister at the time, as well as three other senior Hamas officials, including Mohammed Deif, Ismail Haniyeh, Yahya Sinwar, the other. Those three are all dead. Deif believed to have been killed in July, so unclear why they've issued an arrest warrant now for him. But by overturning Israel's rejection of the jurisdiction and the allegations by the court, this clears the way for something very, very significant, which Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel have never, ever faced before. These are very, very serious charges and allegations, as you read them out there, that the court believes they have grounds to believe that he bears criminal responsibility for war crimes, as you said, including starvation as a method of warfare, and of crimes against humanity, of murder, persecution, and of other crimes.
Definitely seen that. Both sides. Hamas and Hezbollah have committed terrible acts. Netanyahu's government has committed terrible acts. Us as Americans need to see both sides. There's literally no reason. We're American. We're full of Jews. We're full of Muslims, Hindus, Christians, every religion. We're a melting pot. So that's what's special about America. We're allowed to be realistic and truthful about any side without recourse or any type of punishment. So we can say, maybe if you're in Gaza, you can't say anything about Hamas, right? You probably get killed. And if you're in Israel, you barely could say anything about Israeli government without being shunned upon. But here in America, the U.S. of A., we can say both sides need to stop it because they're using our money. It's like kids. Hey, they're like, oh, it's my business. You ain't got no business as long as I'm paying the bills and you in my house. You ain't got no business, Israel. Your business is our business. And Netanyahu need to stop. Just like we want our leaders to stop. Just like we want the Ukraine war to stop and everything else and our politicians to stop on the left and the right to stop playing with us. These people are being played with. And we need to sympathize with that, no matter what side you're on.
These are very, very serious allegations. These are not the sorts of allegations that the Prime Minister has faced before.
And the way I understand it is that any country that's part of the International Court, if he goes there on vacation or whatever, then they would be responsible for basically arresting him. So unless he's going to stay in Israel the rest of his life, he might, but he can't go nowhere.
When the ICC first made these statements back in May, the Prime Minister's office said that they were absurd, that they were false, and that they were a distortion of reality. It is something that back then the Prime Minister took very, very seriously. He has been in meetings today with the US mediator Amos Hochstein, talking about the possibility of a ceasefire with Hezbollah in Lebanon to the north. But this is absolutely now going to come front and center of the Prime Minister's attention here.
So this is very significant, Nick, but then what potentially could be next? Is this an issue of, depending on where Netanyahu were to travel, he could be apprehended, or is he asked to voluntarily cooperate?
Yeah, this is, it's uncharted territory for the Prime Minister. Certainly, we understand the legal implications for all the countries that support the ICC. These are countries that have signed what's known as the Rome Statute. 124 countries have signed up to the Rome Statute. That includes most European countries. There are other leaders, current and former, like Bashir of Sudan, who has essentially been on the lam from the ICC for several years since they issued an arrest warrant for him. An arrest warrant issued just in the past year or so for President Vladimir Putin of Russia, who continues to run his country and fight the war in Ukraine. But we have seen in the case of Vladimir Putin that there are countries that he has avoided visiting, like South Africa, for a BRICS summit, where potentially, because South Africa is a signatory to the Rome Statute, he could have technically been arrested and taken to The Hague. So will the same fate or limitations on travel face Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu? It appears absolutely so. If
they're friends to the U.S., right? So all these other countries that signed the Rome Statute, U.S. probably do business with them, especially European countries. So what happened when they started to be like, nah, you doing it, you still messing around with the ops. Like the U.S. and under Biden, I gotta say under Biden, right? It's not the country, it is the people that's in charge of the country right now. Biden, friend of Netanyahu, we're gonna stop. Like, it's almost like, what are you gonna do? Like, you had two brothers fighting. It's so weird that we in this position. Like, just stop him. He is killing over 44,000 Palestinians, not Hamas members. Nobody, kids and elderly on neither side deserve to die. We can't do this. Oh, yeah, but 1,200 Israeli dies. It's 1,200 to 44,000 now. It is uneven. They got their get back for October 7th, whatever it is. Like, they got it. Stop. It makes me so fucking mad.
If he would have set foot today in the Netherlands or in the UK or in France, all signatories of the Rome Statute, he would be, or those countries at least would be obligated to arrest him and turn him over to the ICC.
All right, and now we want to give you an update on this breaking news. The Israeli Prime Minister's office has just responded to the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant.
I think Netanyahu think he Trump, low-key. And I don't think him and Trump going to get along. I think Biden been giving him everything he wants. I think Trump will stop these wars. I don't know why. Maybe I'm naive. I just think that his ego mixed with Netanyahu's ego is going to blow up. And then Netanyahu going to be in the world of hurt.
Warrants. Benjamin Netanyahu's office calls the warrants for him and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant absurd. The statement says Israel utterly rejects the absurd and false actions and accusations against it by the International Criminal Court, which is a politically biased and discriminatory body. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will not yield to pressure, will not back down, and will not retreat until all the goals of the war set by Israel at the start of the campaign are achieved, end quote.
Now we are following developments out of northern Gaza, where one medical official says Israel launched deadly strikes overnight on the city of Beit Lahia. A director of the Kamal Adwan Hospital says 65 bodies have been pulled. 65
bodies. They say that they have basically proof that Netanyahu basically ordered the hit, the military to hit like civilian. Like, they knew it was all civilian bodies. It wasn't like they went for the military and then civilian just got hit and it was a collateral damage. No, they got proof that he like ordered the direct assault on these civilians. They probably talking about Rafah. They didn't really go into detail, but they probably talking about Rafah when they told all the people, oh, this is safe, and then they bombed that place. Come on, guys, wake up.
From the rubble. He says doctors and medical staff are digging with their bare hands because there are no rescue teams and no ambulances to provide assistance. And he expects the death toll to rise.
I'm too
He's
empathetic.
making a desperate request to international organizations to bring in much needed medical.
Could you imagine if this was going on in a state in the U.S.? It's almost like we need to go into a war with somebody like Russia or China, somebody that could hit us too. For us to like, oh, wait, we don't want to do this. Like, it's supposed to be World War I, the greatest war, the war to end all wars, and then there's World War II. Now we're about to worry about World War III. It's because after a bunch of generations, you become desensitized, right? Once you go to war like that, we went to World War III, and I'm 32. Hey, we probably wouldn't have another war until I'm around 70, and then people forget, and the kids grow up, and they're like, oh, yeah, let's forget it. We mad at, no, this one is different. No, this time is different, man. We're all human beings. These wars only work if you see everybody as separate and different from you. If you practice there's no color, there's no racism, we all just human beings, then that's another human being getting slaughtered There's no excuse for one human being slower than another human being. There's no justification. Israel's supposed to be a Western country in the Eastern world. That's not. We don't do that. We don't just attack people. Dick Cheney and George Bush should probably have a warrants issue for them too because of the weapons of mass destruction that they did not have. They should probably be fucking arrested too. But hey, we just let that pass. But that ain't today. Technology was advancing back then, but it wasn't like now. 2001, 2002 ain't 2024. We have all the social media platforms going as fast as they do now. George Bush would probably be in handcuffs now, and it would never worked. Weapons of mass destruction. They would have been Saddam Hussein, and it would have been online and on X saying, "No, we don't know what y'all talking about."
Supplies. Meanwhile, the US has vetoed a UN Security Council resolution that called for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire in Gaza.
Will those in favour of the draft resolution contained in document S/2024-835 please raise their hand? Those against?
I know the United States ain't up there raising their hand by themselves. Holy shit. Look at that. Look at our country, folks. All the other countries voted to have a ceasefire. So if they vote for a UN resolution, have a ceasefire, and they go, hey, we in a ceasefire, and then Hamas go, we're not letting these hostages go. Do you know what happened? You release every fucking thing. You say, look what they doing. Look, they didn't want to do it. Now you release the fucking hounds on them. But at this pace anyway, Netanyahu with the whole Hannibal doctrine, they killing their own hostages. They just striking. This is ridiculous, man. Look at the U.S. Look, that almost make you upset. That is nasty. That is a nasty feeling as an American that this man just raised his hand to stop a ceasefire, to not stop a ceasefire.
Well, only the US voted against the resolution on Wednesday. Ambassador Robert Wood said the US has made clear it could not support a ceasefire that failed to secure the release of hostages still being held by Hamas. Palestinian officials condemned the veto, saying the move only emboldens Israel to continue its crimes against innocent civilians. CNN's Paula Hancock's following live developments for us from Abu Dhabi. And I guess underscoring the need for this ceasefire, Paula, if we can just go back, is what happened overnight in northern Gaza. By all accounts, an incredibly deadly and bloody night for Palestinians.
Draining.
Yeah, Christina, this latest strike, which has claimed many lives, happened in Beit Lahia. This is in the northern part of Gaza. It's an area which has been, for those who have been living there, say it has been under siege for about 6 weeks now, since the Israeli military decided that they needed to carry out further military operations there because they believed that Hamas was regrouping in the area. So we have seen some very deadly strikes. We have seen some desperate messages from Kamal Adwan Hospital, for example, saying that they don't have what they need to be able to save lives. And this is what we're hearing again. After an airstrike hit a building near that hospital, the director of the hospital says some 200 people were sheltering there. He believes or has been told at the time of the airstrike, and at least 65 people have been killed at this point. Now, he says that those are bodies that are brought into the hospital. They are also receiving injured. But he says that death toll is more than likely to rise. They don't have heavy equipment in this area. The Gaza Civil Defense is unable to operate in this area.
See, they digging them out with their hands. Can you imagine people yelling or seeing dead bodies? Or there's children there, guys. This is not a war where we just imagining this men on men, alpha males going battling in the middle. These are fucking women and children, the majority. Not some, not half. The majority is women and children. Children under the age of 18. Come on. Israel is waging a war against mostly women and children right now. They were just to do it. Two things could be right. And two things could be wrong at the same time. Israel could be wrong, and Hamas could be wrong. This is America. We love stories, the Punisher and things like that. The Punisher gets his family gets killed, and then he goes on a revenge and he kills all the people who killed his family. We okay with that. But the moment the Punisher would have started having collateral damage, the moment he destroying buildings and he killed 4 people that's bad guys, but then 12 civilians get killed, we would be like, yo, hold on. We know you was on the beach celebrating with your family, they killed everybody, and that happened. But no. This is different. You don't get to do this. The Punisher can't go do this. Batman, I know you're chasing the Joker and you're doing good, but you cannot destroy all of Gotham, no matter how much it looks shitty already. Superman, cool. You could sit there and work at the Daily Planet, and you could save the world and be super fast and super strength. But the moment you start knocking down motherfucking buildings and civilians getting killed, Superman is gonna capture kryptonite bullet because you're not doing it. You can't be worse than the bad guys. Only if you're killing them. The Punisher kept his eye on a target. He only killed the bad guys. He never killed no civilians. Otherwise, we would have rioted. We love a good comeback story. This is America. We love a good, even drug dealers, and then they get up and they get millions, and then they wash their money and it's clean. Now they got businesses and they're legit businessmen paying taxes. We love that. But you just can't stay there. Netanyahu, we love the story. You went and you got Hamas the first month, the first 2 months, whatever. Whoa, then it's like 3 months. Okay, cool. 4, 5, a year, more, 12 months, 13. Holy shit. Now we're about to be closer to 2 years of this war. You know how long that is? These people will never be the same. They're creating probably an organization that is 10 times worse than Hamas once they regroup.
And he says that doctors and medical staff are using their bare hands to try and find further casualties within the rubble itself. Now, we have asked the IDF about this strike specifically, but what they have said about previous strikes in this area is that this is where Hamas is operating, and they have been calling for civilians to evacuate the area. We heard from the IDF, they believe last week they believed that in the previous weeks they had killed some 1,000 Hamas militants and detained 1,000 more. For those on the ground, though, it is a desperate situation. The director of Kamal Adwan Hospital telling us that there isn't a single ambulance in northern Gaza, and that at this point all they can do and all they have been able to do is offer first aid. They don't have the surgeons, the medical supplies to be able to offer any more. And certainly those injuries, he says, that are coming in need far more than first aid.
You hear her? They need far more than first aid. They're giving first aid. They're giving Band-Aids and Tylenol and aspirin to people that's coming in for gunshot wounds and missiles and shrapnels in their leg and probably need amputations. Can you imagine needing an amputation and they just give you some vodka or something like a cowboy movie and just, okay, that's all we got. That's it. Take it. Women and children are dying. The United States is a Christian country. They're born and it comes from Jesus, right? Turn the other cheek. Do better upon somebody. Just because they do you wrong don't mean you do them wrong. Treat your neighbor how you want to be treated. Israel, our neighbor, but the Palestinians is our neighbors too. With a few bad apple. We live in America. We got gangs, Bloods, Crip, Hells Angels, Mongols, Vice Lords, GDs, BDs. But even when they get caught and they got switches and they just mow down 10 people, or it was a bar fight and they just killed 20 people or whatever, they still got just due. That's the world we live in. Unfortunately, this isn't balanced at all. These people are dying for Jesus' sake, for Allah's sake, for your God's sake. This shit can't keep going on. It cannot.